5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Westchester Jewish Community Services. As a leading agency in providing a comprehensive spectrum of human services, we have been helping people since 1943. We serve all people in Westchester County, regardless of age, income, or ethnicity. We provide a wide variety of essential and dynamic services that make a difference in people's lives. Children, teens, adults, and senior citizens are served by our network of programs located throughout the county. When people come to us for assistance, they become part of the WJCS family. Our highly trained and skilled staff focus on you and your family and are committed to becoming your partner in finding solutions. For more than half a century, we have been connecting people to services that help them overcome mental, physical, or emotional challenges. WJCS is here in your community when you need us.
Hello and welcome to The Ways We Care, a program brought to you by Westchester Jewish Community Services. WJCS is the county's largest non-sectarian human services agency. We serve over 13,000 residents annually with over 40 sites throughout the county. We serve every problem that your family might meet. We are in your community when you need us the most. We are also funded by government grants, the United Way, corporations and individuals, and the UJA Federation. I'm happy today to have a program on volunteers, since I am the Director of Volunteers at WJCS. April is National Volunteer Recognition Week, and actually it's for the whole month, and we are going to be celebrating with a few volunteers today. So I would like to introduce to you Emily Golden, who is the director of the program A Different Start, located in Yonkers. Thank you for coming, Emily.
Thank you, Mara.
Latasha Smith, who is a graduate of Emily's program, A Different Start.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. And Arlene Colbert, who is a volunteer with A Different Start. Now, the topic of today's program is not only is April Volunteer Recognition Month, but did you know that volunteering is good for your health? Studies show that contributing to the happiness and well-being of others will actually have a positive impact on your long-term health. Volunteers are happier and healthier than non-volunteers. Regular volunteer work increases life expectancy, and using your skills keeps your body and mind active, offers individuals the opportunity to develop new friendships and learn about other cultures. Actually, volunteering, the feel-good feeling, gives you a boost in your endorphins, which actually increases your immune system. So that's a pitch for volunteering. So today we're going to talk to Emily and volunteers about her program. Emily, can you tell me a little bit about the program?
Sure. Different Start is a comprehensive program for pregnant and parenting mothers with young children, including teenage mothers, located in Southwest Yonkers. It's a comprehensive program including GED preparation or basic adult ed skills training, parenting education, and work readiness skills, as well as a nutrition. There's also a nutrition component, and of course our very important volunteer component. Arlene does a knitting class with us. We have another volunteer who does a reading group. So volunteers are a very important part of the team at A Different Start.
Now, how long has A Different Start been running? How long has the program been in existence?
We just celebrated 10 years with WJCS.
Congratulations.
It was our 10th year anniversary as a program of WJCS. And before that, A Different Start did exist independent of WJCS for just a couple of years.
Okay, and just roughly speaking, do you have any idea? You've been the director since the beginning?
Since for the last 11 years.
Okay.
So I took over a year before, or just about the time that WJCS was taking over the program.
And how many girls have gone through the program? Do you have a rough idea?
It's a relatively small program. I would guess about 25 a year in one capacity or another. But
multiplied by 10?
Yeah, but many of the girls have tremendous challenges in their lives and cannot come in and out of the program. And our door is always welcome. Now, for example, now there are 2 girls in the program who previously came for a short time, left the program because there were crises in their lives, and now they've been welcomed back into the program. They just weren't ready yet.
And what is the age span of most of the young women?
That's changed pretty significantly in the last few years. We're serving younger and younger mothers because of the welfare reforms that are obligating older moms. So the opportunity that Tasha had as an older mom coming to the program, when I say older, I mean that Tasha's not 16 or 17 years old. Unfortunately, that opportunity is for an academic program is often no longer available to mothers over 19 years of age.
Is that because of the loss of funding?
No, it's because of the welfare regulations that now require young women 19 years of age and older to be in a work program rather than an academic program.
Oh, I see.
So that accounts for that change.
Oh, I see.
Tasha, it's good that you got to come and have an opportunity to complete the program. Tasha was able to really focus on her academic. In addition to being a star in our knitting class, Tasha was also an academic star in the program.
How long ago were you enrolled in the program? Was it last year or the year before?
2002.
2002, and you completed the program in, was it 2004? 2 years? Or before?
Yeah, because I came, I left, I came, I left, I came, I left.
Okay, so exactly what Emily is describing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But eventually you passed your exam for the GED?
She certainly did. And I'd like to say, for all of those out there who don't know this, the GED is a very, very difficult, intensive 6-part examination, which most folks really don't realize and don't give it the...
No, let's talk a little bit about the GED, because I really don't know. What does the GED what does it stand for, first of all?
General Efficiency Diploma.
General Efficiency Diploma. And so basically they're testing you in 6 different areas, your knowledge in 6 different areas, and what are the areas that they test you on?
Math, reading, science, social studies, literature.
And there's an essay.
And then there's an essay.
Wow.
It's a 2-day...
2-day procedure.
2-day procedure.
So in other words, the GED is given to those who want to earn a high school equivalency diploma, but who have not actually completed high school, but they do a program like yours too.
Right. What I just want to inform people about is that there are a great many high school graduates who do not have a Regents diploma, who have a general, especially before there was so much testing, and many of those high school graduates could not pass, didn't have the academic skill set necessary to pass the GED exam.
So how did you do it? Especially since you had, what, 1 child at the time? When did you find the time to study?
I studied whenever I could.
You said you came in and out of the program, Tasha. Can you share just maybe one thing that came, an obstacle that forced you out of the program for a period of time and then you came back in?
Because my mother went and watched my son, and then we had a fire. And then after all of that, I just came back.
Okay, so you took a little break because you had to sort out obviously some big-time personal issues here, and then you came back in the program. But obviously you stuck it out because you knew the value, I guess, of getting that high school diploma. Is that why, or am I just making that assumption? Or was it Emily's great personality that brought you back, or did Emily actually come to your house and grab you out of bed?
We did. No, actually we did. Remember Linda and I visited you after the fire?
After the fire, her and Linda, they came.
Now Linda was the teacher.
Yes. We came. Where did we go?
They came to the shelter to where we were living at and took me and my son to lunch. And
And
we
where did you
talked.
eat? Do you remember?
A place in Elmsford.
Okay,
The shelter is a diner.
It was a diner.
right.
And I did it for myself.
And I remember Josiah was charming as ever. He always is.
I did it for myself because my mother said I would never get it. So I said I have to do it. Not for her, but for me, because she always said, you ain't going to amount to nothing. You ain't going to be able to do nothing with your life. You ain't going to get this. You ain't going to get that.
What did your mom finally say when you got it?
She ain't say nothing. She just looked at me and smiled.
But you know what's interesting? That piece of paper is something that you earned, and that can never be taken away from you. That's one thing, you know, money you can lose, whatever, but that piece of paper can never be taken away from you because you are a high school graduate now. It's terrific. It's really, let's talk a little bit, because you know Arlene from the program, of course, and Arlene has been a volunteer with the program. As Director of Volunteers, of course, I had a hand in placing Arlene with this great program. How long ago was it?
About 3.5 years ago.
Wow, God, it is that long.
Yeah.
And I remember I placed you around the same time as Adele. who was
No,
another-
she came a year later.
She came 1 year later, okay. So Arlene basically came to see me as a potential volunteer, and I said, maybe this might work. And here you are 3.5 years later. Besides first of all, what do you do when you go down to a different store? What is your position there?
Well, my position is to teach the young ladies how to knit. Not everybody wants to, but those that want to, I teach them how to knit. And it's difficult because I only come once a week, so there isn't the continuity that... and some people have better dexterity with their hands. It's easier for them to knit than others. And there's a lot of talking that goes on, too, so it's not
Right.
just...
But initially, when you first went down to a different store, I think the knitting came sort of naturally afterwards. But when you first came down, was it the knitting that you were doing initially at the very beginning?
Well, I was doing knitting, and I was also doing literacy work with one of the gals that was there from, where was she? Ghana?
Ghana, who had no literacy in any language.
She was illiterate. And
So you worked one-on-one with her?
Yes, she really could not read at all. She couldn't read. She probably couldn't read in her own language because towards the end of my working with her, not that she was literate at that point, but I helped her write her mother a letter in Ghana, and it was the first time that she had ever written anything.
Wow. I mean, that had to be quite amazing.
And her family, though, was very literate, so evidently she had very bad dyslexia, but in Ghana, they
No,
couldn't.
she also explained to me how
Yeah?
school was devalued for women.
Oh.
It wasn't important for
Okay.
her to go to school. It certainly wasn't obligatory.
Right.
And if she went, that was okay, but it was certainly okay if she didn't go.
And she was older. She was in her 30s already,
Was she newly arrived here?
I don't
Fairly new. She'd been here just a couple of years, but she had very bright kids.
Yes, her kids were all doing great, and the reason she was doing so well is that her two older sons would help her with her homework. So, and they were very proud of her, and they really helped her a lot.
So she stuck with the program?
She
For
did.
about over a year.
She accomplished her goal was to become literate.
to learn how to
And with
read.
Arlene's help,
Yeah.
she did that.
So so we know a different start, but I know you do other volunteer activities in the community as well. So since this is volunteer, this is not just WJCS, this is volunteer month, the month of April. Tell us what else you do
I'm a literacy volunteer.
and explain that for those who
Well,
don't know what that is.
I took a course through Literacy Volunteers. I think they're in Elmsford, and they give courses at different schools. And I took this, I think, at the Rochambeau School. And they matched me up with a man from Colombia. And
Columbia, South America.
Columbia, South America. Most of the literacy volunteers do not work with English-speaking people so much that can't read. You're really doing ESL, English as a second language.
So are you currently doing that as well?
Yes, not as much as I was, because this is also 3.5 years later, and he's quite fluent in English. The problem he has is that he's not exposed to English speakers that much. So it's hard for him if you're not right in front of him. Like, he doesn't like to talk on the phone because it's
always
very
the most
hard
difficult.
to hear. So this is, yesterday was our first try.
On the phone.
We're doing now a half an hour of phone work where we each have the same book and seeing what he can understand.
Oh.
And we're going to see how that.
So in other words, he
works.
doesn't have to speak English in his place of employment, or?
No, he's a very, very literate man. And, but here he's a janitor. He has 2 jobs. He works at Richards in Greenwich in the mornings. And then he has about 4 hours free. I used to meet him in the White Plains Library.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a job at Pace College at night.
Goodness.
And but he is a very, very literate man. I mean, he reads Gabriel. I can't.
Oh, Marquez.
Yeah.
Right.
And
100 years
Years
of Solitude.
and that's not exactly.
No,
what it
no,
is.
that's tough.
So
reading.
that's the kind of things that he likes
That's
to
what
read.
you can work up to. 100
Unfortunately, he doesn't have a green card, so he really can't get the kind of job that he would like here.
Right.
He'd
Which
like
is, of
to
course,
work.
the case for many
He'd
people.
like to work in Borders or in the library, or.
Right.
But he was in business in Columbia. But he has a little business on the side. He sells phone cards.
Oh, okay.
He's very
That's
entrepreneurial.
good. That's good.
The phone usually rings. His cell phone rings.
Now, but you're also a docent, aren't
Yes.
you, at the museum?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that,
I'm a docent at the Newberger Museum.
which is in,
Which is at SUNY Purchase
okay.
in Purchase. And I'm there 2 days a week. Mondays, everybody in the program gets education in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. And then on Friday, we mostly take around school children, anywhere from kindergarten through high school, but we're now starting to do the students from Purchase College.
Didn't,
We did.
Yes,
you
and I've
go?
also
Sometimes.
taken.
were you there? Did you go too?
To the museum? I don't know if you
I don't know
were
if she
there.
went to. Did you go to the one we went to, the one in Harlem? You didn't go to that
Studio
one.
Museum.
That
Oh, you
one
did?
went, yes.
Yeah, we also.
Which museum was
The
that?
Studio Museum in Harlem.
I
Oh.
didn't. Someone else. You know, the person there was the docent, but they have.
The Studio Museum of Harlem.
It's a wonderful museum.
On 125th
And what do
Street.
they have there? What kinds of things do they have? Is it an art museum?
Yes.
Or
Mhm.
history museum?
No, it's an art
It's an
museum.
art museum.
And they showcase African
American
American
artists, and it's really gotten very, very good reviews. It's a wonderful museum.
What about your other volunteer experience? The WJCS? Family
Oh yes. I also work at what is it called? The Family Center.
The Family Center, which is
And-
our daycare center.
Right, and that was my initial thing that I thought that I was doing, just working in the daycare center. And I work there 2.5 hours in the morning, and then I quickly have my lunch, and then I go over to the other
Right
center.
over to a different start. So they're right next door to each
Yes,
other.
mhm.
And of course, is that where Josiah used to go in the morning? No? Because I know some of the girls in the
Yes.
program, their children
Yes.
are also enrolled in the daycare program. So they
Yes.
just drop their kids off in the morning and then they go right next door to a different start. So
Right.
who did Josiah stay with?
My mother or my sister.
Okay. So they were willing to do that.
Yeah, for a little while. And then when I left and I came back, he was in Head Start.
Okay, so he was well taken care of then. Tell us a little bit about, well, we know Arlene has done some terrific things with the girls, teaching them how to knit. By the way, have you seen the latest articles on knitting? Knitting has become
Yes.
It's the new hot
very,
thing.
very hot again, very chic and very hot. Everyone is knitting. Actors and actresses are knitting, making all sorts of ponchos and shawls. And they say it's very good for your hands, it's very good for your mind, it relaxes you. Did you find it relaxing? Mm-hmm. You did find it relaxing. Isn't that interesting? Would
She
you
was
like
my
to
star pupil.
My goodness gracious. Well, star pupil, let's see what you made for your new baby. Let's show everyone.
A sweater.
I noticed it's yellow because you started it when you were expecting.
Right, so
Yeah.
Tasha didn't know she was going to have a boy
A
or
boy or
and she
girl,
made
but I
this
had a
beautiful
boy.
And this was really not an easy project. I mean, she made a collar, she made the buttonholes.
Look at the cute little
Duckies.
ducky buttons, right?
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah, but-
so adorable.
Yeah, but the work is I mean, she really did a great job. It was not easy following the instructions. And I think a lot of those movie stars, they make, scarves and
Because
they
you
make...
just keep going
Yeah,
with the
it's-
scarf. You don't have to cast off. You don't have to drop.
Right.
That's
So
right.
this was not an easy project.
Tasha did make an absolutely gorgeous scarf,
Yes,
though
she
she
did.
lost some of her work in the fire.
Well, the first year we had the program, she made a scarf that we auctioned
Auctioned
off.
off.
At a fundraiser we did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
What kind of a scarf was it? Was it that fuzzy?
Yes, it was just this really wonderful yarn.
As a scarf, I think I could do. Just one.
A scarf is easy.
Oh, just one. I would just keep going and going
So-
because I wouldn't know how to finish it off. I wouldn't know how to end.
Most of the girls have made scarves or they've made blankets.
Oh.
We had one student, Latanya, who she had the hardest time learning to knit. She really did. And Linda, who was the teacher, sometimes would help me because we sometimes had a lot of students and I just couldn't get around to everybody. And she also was having a terrible time. But like maybe the fourth week, all of a sudden, she started to learn and she couldn't stop knitting.
Oh my goodness. It's almost addictive.
We went to the Studio Museum, and there she is with her yarn under her arm, and she is knitting in the museum.
Oh, that's wonderful, though. What's really nice is that you can always sort of have it in your bag in case you find yourself with nothing to do and you just want to pass the time. And it's so nice because you have a finished product to show for it. That's what's so great. Emily, I know you have some other volunteers. I'd like to mention that Adele Fader is also a volunteer.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about what Adele does with the girls.
Adele's an important part of the program. For many of the students coming to A Different Start, reading is not really part of their life, part of their experience. It's not something that they do for pleasure or do regularly, either for themselves or to their children. That's one of the things you say, Tasha, that we work on a lot in the parenting class. How much do we work on that?
All day.
What in particular?
Reading.
To whom?
Your kids. Your
Read,
son,
read,
your
read.
daughter. Read.
Right. Opens up a whole world.
Right. So Adele originally came in thinking that she was going to work with the moms on reading to the children, but what evolved was a reading group, a reading club for the moms themselves. And Adele has found a genre of literature that's a particular interest. It talks to many of the same life experiences. It's African American literature predominantly, but ethnic literature, and the girls seem to like it very much, and they can relate to it. So rather than reading the classics, which we found was less, it wasn't as easy to engage.
Not
the
as
girls.
appropriate, right.
Well, it's more difficult to engage. So, I mean, the most important thing about reading is to find something that you're interested in.
Whatever it is you read, it's better than not reading at all. I remember she started with the book The Pact. Did you read that book? It was about 3 African American boys growing up, I think in Newark, New Jersey,
Right.
who made a pact that they would stay out of trouble and they would become someone. And 2 of them became doctors and 1 of them became a dentist. And they lived in a very rough neighborhood where, people were getting shot and doing drugs, and they made this pact that they would just somehow stay out of trouble. And they wrote a book called The Pact. I think someone should pick it up for a movie because I think it's a great story. I really do.
Almost sounds like what Tasha said earlier, that she made a pact with herself when she was saying, even though her mother said, you can't do this, you're right, you made a promise to yourself that you were going to do this. And what about what you're giving to Josiah in terms
Let's
of
talk a little bit about your 2 kids. You have two sons.
and how you manage with all your jobs? And
Right, and how do you manage? Now, one is what, 4? And the other one is?
8.5 months.
Okay, so Josiah's the older one, and the younger one is called?
Javon.
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 Javon. And how do you juggle it with and you're working now where?
For Domino Sugars.
And what do you do there?
Security.
So you're a security guard, and you work, what, 8 hours a day? Okay, so you got these 2 little kids. You work 8 hours a day.
Do you have another job as well?
No, I'm waiting for an answer from the other job.
And it's very also the, I don't know if it'll be over by the time this is shown, but there's a bus strike right now in Yonkers, which makes it very hard for everybody to get
around
and to get to work. Are you affected by the bus strike?
I walk.
Hey, that's the best solution. Have a job that you can walk to or bike to. Do you like your job?
No.
No? Okay. Would you like to find something more mentally challenging, mentally stimulating?
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for now.
How do you juggle it all? Are you stressed out? Or do you start knitting when you get stressed?
I used to knit when I got stressed, but now I just go to sleep.
Tired.
Yeah, I'm sure you're very tired. It's a lot. Well, let me ask Emily. We talked a little bit about Adele. We talked about the Family Center. Do you have any advice if there's someone out there watching, thinking, "My God, I can't do it. You know, I just couldn't do that. You know, it's just too much." What would you say to that person if she's 19 years old and or 18 years old, she's got a couple of kids already and heading nowhere? You know, if you had to kind of boost their self-esteem and give them a little pep talk, what would you say to them?
Well, for me, I saw my son as my bright star. Whenever I felt like I didn't want to do something, I look at him and I'd be like, well, I have to do it. Even if I don't want to do it, I have to do it because he didn't ask to be here. And I need to provide and take care of him the best way I could. And if I don't have an education, if I don't have a job, how am I supposed to take care of him? I can't be in the streets for him. Just do it.
Just do it. So get your inspiration from looking at your kids.
My strength is from him.
Oh, he's some special.
When you ask a lot of the moms why are they there, they'll often say because I want to be able to help my child with their homework. I don't want to be embarrassed if my child comes home in 4th grade with homework that I can't do. Some of the girls come in with very, very low skill levels, unlike Tasha, who came in with a higher level of academic levels. They don't, basic math skills they don't have, and they really want to get that for their kids. So I'd say that's a common, would you say, a common theme, that the girls are doing it for themselves and for their kids? I think so.
Well, how about if we call Josiah onto the set? Josiah, come here.
I remember well.
Come stand by your mom. Stand by your mom.
One day, when it was time for Josiah to go to public school, Tasha came to me. They have something in Yonkers called balloting, where every mother has to choose an elementary school. And it could be overwhelming because there must be, I don't know how, I would say there must be about 8 or 9 elementary schools in Yonkers. I'm just guessing. And it's overwhelming to pick which schools. So, and Tasha wanted to make sure that her son went to a good school. So we methodically went on and this was very, very hard to do.
Emily, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but our time is running out, and I just want to thank everyone for watching The Ways We Care by WJCS.
You
and Josiah, do you want to say goodbye to everyone who's watching out there?
Who would you like to say goodbye to?
Your baby brother? Are you proud of Mom?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone. Okay. Goodbye from WJCS. Hello, and welcome to The Ways We Care, a program brought to you by Westchester Jewish Community Services. I'm Meryl Lewis, and I'm the Director of Volunteer Services at the agency. WJCS, as we are commonly known, is the largest, most comprehensive, non-sectarian human services agency in Westchester County. We serve over 13,000 residents annually and have over 40 sites throughout the county. We are funded by corporations, government grants, the United Way, private individuals, and the UJA Federation. April is Volunteer Recognition Month nationally, and we would like to celebrate today by celebrating some of WJCS volunteers. Did you know that volunteering is actually good for your health? Well, we're going to find out just how good it is for your health during this program. Volunteering actually increases the feel-good endorphins, which increase your immune system. Contributing to the happiness and well-being of others will have a positive impact on your long-term health. Studies have shown that volunteers are happier and healthier than non-volunteers, and regular volunteer work increases life expectancy. Using your skills keeps your body and mind active and offers individuals opportunities to develop new friendships and learn about new cultures. Meaningful and rewarding volunteer work can add balance and perspective to your life and distract you from your own problems. Meeting people, learning new skills, receiving positive feedback about a job well done does wonders for your self-esteem and self-confidence, not to mention what it does for the person you are helping. It truly is a win-win-win situation. Often stress-related health problems improve after performing kind acts. A rush of euphoria followed by a longer period of calm is often referred to as a helper's high, involving physical sensations, and the initial rush is then followed by a longer lasting period of improved emotional well-being. So remember, when you take your vitamin in the morning and your glass of orange juice, take a good dose of volunteering as well. Today we're going to be talking about one of the WJCS programs, which is in Mount Vernon, and it is the Advantage After School program. I would like to introduce Judy Corlin. Thanks for coming on, Judy. Judy is a volunteer with the Advantage After School program. Mary Figueroa is the coordinator, the WJCS coordinator of the program in Mount Vernon at the Edward Williams School. And Deborah Radoff is from Westchester Reformed Temple in Scarsdale, and she is here today since the temple is involved in volunteering with this program. So, let's talk with you, Judy, a little bit on how you got involved with this program. We know, of course, how you got involved with this program because I'm the guilty party, right?
You certainly are. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I retired from my 30-year profession as a nutritionist, and I came to WJCS looking for some good way to use whatever I had for whatever I could do for the community. Or I was looking really, I said to Merrill, you gave me many choices. It was two on A and two on B.
Like column A and column B. That's how large the agency is.
I told her that I had worked for many years in the Bronx in an African American community, which I found tremendously satisfying. There was great need, and I found that I really had something to contribute. I had been for many years involved in temple activities. I was now looking for an area where there was genuine need and not busy work. In areas, there are many areas where you find yourself being busy, but you don't really feel that you're contributing in a solid way. So we decided that perhaps an African American community was where I belonged, and you said to me, Judy, I know this fantastic woman. You will adore her. And it was a prophecy.
Yes, you did. A match made in heaven.
It was a prophecy fulfilled.
Yes, it was.
We immediately
hit it off. We just
And of course, Judy came in with her husband, Len, who was also a terrific volunteer in the program. And Len had been an editor before, and Judy, of course, was a nutrition educator. And I remember you saying, no, I don't really think I want to do anything with nutrition, but I'd like to work with children. I thought, let's make a good match, because then, of course, again, it's a win-win-win situation.
Mary said to me, we had one day in which she says, what do you want to do here? And I said, I'm wide open. I really would love to work in some way to help these kids really feel good about themselves. And Mary, who is wide open, said, I'm going to give you the kids and you decide what you want to do with them. So immediately we got a group together, and Len was delighted to join, and with his expertise as a writer, a publisher, editor, he said, why don't we, it was really his idea, why don't we do a writing workshop, which we have been doing, and each session the kids do write creatively, and then Len takes all their writings and puts it together into a newspaper, and they have been tickled. Everybody's an editor.
Oh, I should have brought actually one of the newspapers. Actually, Mary, for those who are watching who don't know what the Advantage After School program is all about, why don't you tell us how many students, where it takes place, etc.
The Advantage After School program takes place in Mount Vernon at the Edward Williams Community School, and we service approximately 120 students at between the hours of 3 and 6:15. And the program offers a range of educational, recreational, behavior, social, skills building activities that more or less support and enhance the positive development of the children in the school. It's only for the Edward Williams children, and it's from grades 1 through grade 5. The ages are approximately about 6 to 12, and we have about 2 or 3 6th graders that come in and act as youth assistants to help us, but they've been in the program previously. This is our it's actually the 5th year, the 4th year that I am the coordinator, and this year will be our last year unless we find additional funding.
Oh, yes. We will actually talk about that at the end of the program, because certainly people who are sitting watching at home can contact their congressmen and their legislators about the possible lack of funding for this fantastic program. These 120 children in the elementary school, how did they come to you? I mean, are they referred, or do their parents just request their placement?
At the beginning of the year, I send out applications to all of the student body from grades 1 through 5.
And how many students are in the school?
Approximately, I'm not sure, but it's over 500, probably 550 plus, yes. And from sending in those applications, it's really on a first serve, first come basis. And from each grade level, we take approximately 22 students. So that gives us the 110, maybe 20. Actually, this year we had 24 to 26 students, and then I had to find, other types of programs for them because we are only allowed to take a certain number. We have a long waiting list from the children, and it makes it very difficult to choose. Some of the students I take upon referrals from the teachers, the principal, the psychologist, because there are special needs children. Some children are at-risk students, so we also need to try to support and service them. And we usually have exactly about 120 students. So, and it's a very comprehensive program.
This is funded by the state?
Yes, it's an Advantage grant, and this is the last year for that grant.
And this is a national program, or is it a state program, a New York State program?
No, there are other programs throughout the nation, I think, for Advantage programs, but there's just not a lot of funding. There's no funding. The funding sources have dried up. So.
Well, we will see what we can do about that at the end of the program. Deborah from Westchester Reformed Temple, and I have had the pleasure on many, many occasions to work with lots of people from your temple. You are certainly a very socially active, community-minded temple, doing all sorts of really good things. And tell us a little bit about the connection of the Advantage program and Westchester Reformed Temple. Of course, Judy and Len Corlin are congregants at the temple, and Judy did go to the temple when she started with the program and request that the temple adopt this particular program.
Right.
So you want to talk to that a little bit?
Well, I can sort of share with you what Judy told me. The first person she went to was our rabbi, Rabbi Richard Jacobs, and of course he was so receptive to the ideas that she brought to him. And the next step was then to get people that are involved in social action together, and that's myself as well as other co-chairs of the Social Action Committee, and we sat down with Judy and with Mary and learned about the program and then tried to figure out how we could support the work that they're doing because it's so valuable and so wonderful. We've done several different things to help the program. We've done collections of materials and supplies for them. I think we've actually given money to the program, and we've also provided volunteers to them. Either we've provided kids from our religious school to go down to volunteer and help out, and adults have also gone down to volunteer to be, I think, mentors. They go down and talk about their careers and how they became who they are, to maybe inspire the kids to think about what possibilities lie ahead. So we've been very excited about being part of that program, and we hope that our involvement continues to grow, which we think it will.
I hope it will too, and I hope that the program will be in existence next year. It's a very wonderful and necessary program. And I know that Mary and Judy have shared with me some of the terrific volunteers who have come from Westchester Reformed Temple and talked about, I think you had an attorney.
I can tell you some of the things that would
I'd
please.
love to
I
hear
can't
it.
wait to tell.
It's really very exciting because many of these kids would never have a chance in real life to meet people from these professions.
We've had such an embracement from the Westchester Reformed Temple, and they have been so wonderful to our children. It's created such a positive experience for them, and just a wealth of wonderful memories that later in life they'll be able to draw on. And of course, Judy and I, we're like two peas. Yes, we are. Two peas in a pot, though, because she just is so wonderful with all of the support that she's given me to facilitate the different types of programs that take place in the school. So I can tell you from Monday to Friday we have volunteers from the temple, and we have an intergenerational project where several of the retired teachers have come in to do one-on-one tutoring. That takes place on Mondays. We also have Judy and Lynn Corlin who facilitate the Journal Club, and this is their second year. They've had 3 publications. Their 3rd publication just recently was out last week.
I didn't get a copy.
Next week.
Please.
We also have Mr. Siegel, Steve Siegel, who comes in and on Mondays, and he has formed the chess club and a basketball clinic for the children, and it's for boys and girls. We also have on Tuesdays a small group of the children who are doing their mitzvah service projects. They do a little dance program for some of our
I didn't know.
first graders. Yes, and so the children share their skills, so it's a positive experience, as you say, is win-win situation where the children are learning from each other, and it's just so nice to see the interaction and just the fun that they're having. And these children, some of our children would never be able to take dance lessons. So, and the children look for their mentors and friends, as they call them, their friends, and they know what day that they're coming. So on Tuesdays, you may find a group of children waiting near the entrance of the school for the children that usually spend time with them for that hour. Also on Wednesdays we have more students that come in to mentor and tutor the children on a one-to-one basis. On Thursdays I have a large group of children that come in, and I also have another retired teacher that comes in on Wednesdays, but on Thursdays is about 12 to 13, maybe 12 to 14 children that come in to do homework assistance and help them. And then on Fridays we have an art project where one of the two of the children come in and they do art therapy with the children and draw and they make little baskets.
How old are the students who from Westchester Reformed Temple that are coming in?
12 and 13.
Most of them, I think, are doing this as part of their bar and bat mitzvah projects.
Yes.
And Judy has been instrumental in recruiting them and educating them about the opportunities they can have.
Well, the nicest thing is, in the second year of a program, we have the students who have come and been so enthusiastic that they incentivize the next group. So I'm hoping that this goes on indefinitely. We have confirmation age. How old is that?
That's 10th graders, 15-year-olds.
So we have
so they're
15-year-olds
older.
as well.
Yes, we have some older ones. And then and the interesting part of that is when the children have finished their weeks of mitzvah service, they don't want to leave, so they continue to go to come. And it's so nice.
Well, the word mitzvah has been, bantered around here, and a lot of the viewers may not know what mitzvah means. Deborah, what does mitzvah mean?
Well, the literal translation is a commandment, meaning that we are commanded to basically do good deeds. But the general definition that people kind of associate with mitzvah is a good deed.
Right.
So,
but it's actually, it's a commandment.
Yes.
A commandment to do
good deeds. Yes.
every day. And I see you have this book.
Yes.
First of all, let's talk a little bit about Westchester Reformed Temple. Of course, is not just involved with the After School Advantage program. It's quite a large temple, and it is involved in a number of programs. Can you, as a member of Social Action, talk a little bit about some of the other things you do?
Absolutely. I would say Social Action is really part of the fabric of our congregation. It starts with at the beginning of the year with our Yom Kippur food drive. We ask our congregants to bring non-perishable foods with them when they come to services on Yom Kippur, wanting them to realize that, even though they might be fasting on that one day, there are people in our community who are fasting every day because they don't have food. So bags of food are brought in that day and they are donated to Food Patch. We usually bring in about 10,000 pounds of food on Yom Kippur. The next big project we do at our temple is called Mitzvah Day. It's usually a Sunday in the fall, October, November, where we have about 36 social action projects going on, either at the temple or out in the community. We probably have at least 500 or 600 members of our congregation, from the little ones to the elderly, all involved. They're either doing collections or organizing donated items, or they're actually going out into the community. We have groups that go to Children's Village and Hawthorne, Cedar Knolls, and places like that where they'll actually have programs with the kids. We send a group to Samaritan House, which is a women's shelter in White Plains. We send a group to Sarah Newman, which is a nursing home. Our adult choir goes there to sing. But I mean, it's a day when you talk about the energy that is created on that day. It is just wonderful. We do many social action projects after that. We have a monthly mitzvah that we advertise in our bulletin. Each month we'll have some sort of a collection. It might be school supplies in September, coats in December, books,
Well, I know
jewelry.
you have certainly given us, this month, as a matter of fact, we've received hundreds and hundreds of children's books, which we use in the waiting rooms of our mental health
Yes,
clinics
that's
for
right.
children.
That's right.
So we had
Yeah.
we had those dropped off.
Once a month we have a group that prepares a lunch in our kitchen that is taken to a local homeless shelter. 3 times a year we do luncheons for elderly Jewish poor, usually from sections of the Bronx or Brooklyn. We do one at Hanukkah, one at Passover.
So you bring them up, you bust them up?
They come up. These are elderly who are usually involved in some sort of not a daycare facility, but a community center. So they're mobile, but often they've been left behind. It's sort of in the enclaves of neighborhoods where they might feel somewhat isolated. So for them to be able to come up to us and
To
we
the
provide
country?
to the country, exactly. We do 2 large parties for developmentally disabled adults. Again, I think that's through WJCS. We do one at Hanukkah and one at Purim. We also do a project every year that Judy and her husband started, the Passover baskets.
Oh,
that
that's
has
wonderful.
become-
That's
That
coming
is
up,
nice.
Passover.
Yeah.
When is Passover this year? April?
April 10th is going to be the collection, but that's been going on and it's very heartening for 30 years. And we started, the kids that used to help carry Passover baskets or boxes, which they decorated, we collected at our home, are now, they used to come with their parents, and they are now delivering it themselves with their children, and how exciting that is. And the kids get the concept that at Passover time, it is our obligation to feed the hungry. And we explain to them, it goes, most of those boxes go to Bronx House, where there are elderly, there are immigrants, there are people who are just so thankful to receive these boxes. And we get about, I would say, somewhere between 125 to 150 boxes. People who start delivering it never stop. They come every year. They've already started calling me about the fact that they may be going away and can they deliver it early. I mean, they are really consistent and wonderful.
They all go to this Bronx House.
Well, they get delivered to Judy's house.
Right. We fill up 2 carports with baskets, and the next day they come from the Bronx House with a truck, and they have to come back 2 times. And
what's in these baskets or boxes?
well, we give them a list, and they have to be kosher for Passover. The people they're going to are not all kosher, but it's one of in the directions we ask that they collect. And sometimes, and what is so gratifying, there's one man who comes in every year with Passover foods can be very expensive. And he comes in with these 2 huge boxes, and he says to me the same words every year, and we smile. He said, "I've had a good year, and I want to do it." You know, and so it's very, very gratifying.
Very nice.
Very
Very nice. That's wonderful. 30 years.
Absolutely.
And so we're in April.
Yeah. You know, we also, the men's club at our temple does a blood drive twice a year. The women's group, Women of Reformed Judaism, does a dinner every year for the blind. I know I run a program with our Early Childhood Center. In the wintertime, once a week, I'll make a big pot of soup with a class of either 3 or 4-year-olds. I'll start the soup, but they'll come down to the kitchen and bring all the vegetables that they brought from home and throw it into the pot. And then we stir it together and cook it up. And then the next day I take it to the Grace Church Soup Kitchen in White Plains.
In White Plains.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
It's so much fun.
It
is.
It's amazing.
So there's a lot of things we do.
But also introducing, I mean, I've always believed very, very strongly in introducing the concept to very, very young children.
Absolutely.
That if you are lucky, then you share that with people who aren't, for the moment, as lucky. And I think that, you know, it's almost too late when you start at 13 during a bar mitzvah.
Right.
Yes.
It's something that should be a part of everyone's home.
Yes.
And they should be at 2 years old. I remember when my children were stuffing bags for the midnight run, you know, put in the hard-boiled egg, and one put in the peanut butter or the bologna sandwich, one put in the apple, and so they just knew that this is something we did.
Right.
And I think that carries through their whole lives, really. So we left you in. Are we up to June yet?
Well, you know, we always have something going on. But I wanted to add to what you just started to describe. You know, we love when our congregants get involved in our social action projects, and certainly when congregants come to us with other ideas, you know, there is no wrong idea. It's always a good idea. But we also want our congregants to understand that doing mitzvot, doing good deeds should just be part of their everyday life. And one of the leaders, one of the co-chairs of the Social Action Committee a number of years ago, his name is Henry Simon, came up with the idea of creating a book that people can then use and help guide them to add mitzvot to their everyday life. And it was really a labor of love. He came up with the concept, and he did most of the legwork, and he created this book called Mitzvahs Made Easy, about how, and it just contains all kinds of ideas of what you can do to do good deeds in the community. A number of the opportunities are WJCS.
Now, is this book available to purchase?
No, it's available to our membership. It's free of charge. We have it available. We do give it to our 6th and 7th graders when they're getting ready for their bar and bat mitzvahs. But
if someone out there who was not a member of Westchester Reformed Temple wanted this book,
Well, you know, since I guess we've just starting to introduce it to the public, I'm not quite sure what the answer is, but we definitely have it available, and you know, we would certainly love to share the ideas that are in this book.
Some families sometimes need ideas. Well, we're sort of running out of time here, and I want to, of course, tell you how much I appreciate having you as a WJCS volunteer.
Well,
you and Len. It's been such a labor of love.
Have gotten more than I've given, I have to tell you.
But
And
you
I am
always,
so appreciative too to have her.
volunteers
husband.
always, you
Yeah.
always do get so much more back than you give. I want to make sure that we do mention to the viewers about the Advantage After School program. Please, please contact your state legislators and the governor to urge them to save Advantage After School programs. They're completing their 5th year of funding. The funding has not been renewed. We really need quality after-school programs to keep kids safe, help working families, and improve academic achievement. There are 89 programs in jeopardy of closing, including the one here in Mount Vernon. We just desperately need for you to contact your legislators. Call or write today, or if you don't know who your legislator is, just call your League of Women Voters, and they will tell you who to contact. So thank you all very, very much for sharing today. I really appreciate it, and it's obviously something I'm sold on. So thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.